Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And this time round we are going to be starting a brand new series. And no, it's not going to be a build series. We've got two of those about to start as well. But this series is actually something different. It's something that I know, well, currently know absolutely nothing about. And that is IMAC. So let's get straight to it. Okay, so first, let me just explain myself. Where should I start? I guess I've just been kind of getting a little bit bored. Can I use that word? Not bored with the hobby, not sort of bored with flying, but I guess kind of to a point bored with flying, sort of kind of doing the same old thing. And I feel like I'm not really progressing with my flying. So, I mean, let me just clarify that. So, you know, you take off circuit, you do a few maneuvers, a loop or loop with snaps or knife edge or Cubanate or square loop, whatever it may be. I kind of just do the same stuff over and over again. And I feel like my flying's not getting sharper. So then every now and then I think, well, I'll try a bit of 3D. That looks great. I'll look up a maneuver like a Harrier or Harrier rolls or rifle roll and try and do that and think, no, this just isn't for me. It just feels too uncomfortable at the moment. And then a few years ago, I did actually have a pattern ship for a while. I mean, check this out. Absolutely gorgeous model, and started flying some basic F3A schedules. I mean, real basic. I think it was standard class at the time, and it really improved my flying. And to be honest with you, I don't really know why I stopped. I think I sold the money because I needed some. I sold the model because I needed some money to buy another model and clear off some debt. I can't remember, but the model's gone anyway. So I've kind of thinking, what should I do this season? I want to improve my flying, I want to get better, and I want a challenge. So I keep hearing about IMAC. I currently know absolutely nothing about it, other than it's aerobatic maneuvers, but it's not like F3A. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do some research, I'm going to get into it, I may even enter competition, I'm going to go and practice it, and I thought, why not just share that research and share that knowledge as we're doing it. So that is exactly what we're doing now. So first off, let's work out what IMAC actually stands for. So according to Google, if Google never lies, IMAC stands for International Miniature Aircraft Club. Okay, so let's start off with what I do currently know about IMAC. So we've worked out what it stands for. So it's like F3A from a point of view. You have a schedule. You have different classes within that schedule, starting off with basic, sportsman, standard, and then advanced, I believe it is. You progress and you work your way up through those schedules, I believe, throughout the season, like you would do with F3A aerobatics. It's aerobatic maneuvers, but different to F3A. F3A, you fly within a box, if you like, out there. With IMAC, you don't, from what I understand, you can do your maneuvers pretty much anywhere, if I understand at the moment. I may be wrong on that, so I may stand corrected, but again, we're learning together. The maneuvers do flow into each other, and they use something called Aresti, which is really the symbols and symbology which are used to, is that a word, symbology? Let's stick with symbols. The symbols are used to lay out how you do those maneuvers. So I'm just going to jump straight in and actually have a look at the schedule. And I'm going to look at not the basic, but the sportsman. So really the second one up. The basic is more like an introduction. I mean, maybe I should start there. Maybe I will end up going backwards, but I'm going to try and start with the sportsman. So let's go back onto IMAC UK. There we go. I'm going to go straight into schedules. And there's something called the knowns. I'm not sure what that means at the moment. Probably got unknowns as well. 2023, that's the year we're in. That's always a good start. And then we've now got advanced, basic, intermediate, sportsman, and unlimited. Okay, so I was wrong. So basic's definitely the entry level. Sportsman's definitely the next level up, which I believe you can start at. Intermediate is then following that. Then you've got advanced, and then I believe you've got unlimited. So again, I'm not quite sure about that. I will find out when I talk to somebody, and I'll let you guys know. But let's go ahead and look at the sportsman. So I'm going to hit download. So, okay, let's go through this. And again, I only started looking at this stuff yesterday. But that's the whole point of this video and this video series. We're going to be learning together all the way through to flying it and maybe competing. So left hand side, we've got the maneuvers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this sportsman class 2023 Sportsman class has 10 manoeuvres in it. The first column symbol is the outline using that Aresti of the manoeuvre. Catalogue numbers, I have no idea what they are right now. K factor is again similar to F3A, or same as F3A, is do the point scoring system. We'll find out more about that as we go through. So this has got a K factor of 12 and a K factor of 10 based on those catalogue numbers with a total K of 22. And the remarks is actually what the manoeuvre is. So this is a vertical 5/8 loop, or also known as a teardrop. Okay, so let's go over the next one. So number 2, this is a half loop Emmelman. Teeth. So again, this looks like you go up, you do a triangle. This is where it's different from what I'm used to. Do a half loop, then something called 2 times 4. I don't know if you guys can just about see that. Can I zoom in? Yeah, go 2 times 4. And then you end the manoeuvre. So, okay, so it's coming pretty obvious pretty quick that we need to understand what these symbols are on here. We need to understand what 2 times 4 is with the arrow. We need to understand what this triangle is down the bottom here with the line coming off the top of it. But good thing is, if we go back off the schedule onto the IMAC UK site and go into resources starting out, they have got a link to a PowerPoint presentation which is all about learning Aresti. So let's have a look at that. And again, I'll make sure this is linked. This is not my material, it's off of the IMAC UK site, and there are other IMAC sites out there as well which have very similar material. But let's just get into this now. Hit presentation mode and go through this together. Okay, so this is part of the course, learn the language. We won't worry about judging criteria right yet. So we want to learn symbology. That was right. Roll symbology, snap rolls, and spin. So these are the key concepts that you've got to learn to be able to understand what manoeuvres you're meant to be doing in the schedule. I think that makes sense. Right, okay, so line symbology. So the start of the sequence is always dictated by a circle, a dot. This one has a number around it, which means the first manoeuvre in the sequence. And the end of the sequence is indicated by a vertical line. Fine, so that in theory would just be straight and level flight. So positive or upright flight. So again, if we go to the middle screen here, you're going to do a 45 degrees up here. So if you start at the bottom, 45 degrees up, come off the top and end. Fine. So this is another upright flight here. Number 1, start, pull up 90 degrees, push out back to level flight. So that's all upright flight. So then inverted flight is dictated by a red dotted line. So if we go back here, so this is just inverted, starting inverted and ending inverted, straight and level. The middle manoeuvre is starting inverted, going down 45 degrees, pushing out, because obviously we're inverted, back to straight and level. And then the last manoeuvre again is starting inverted, pushing up 90 degrees, and then pulling out to flat and level. So when I'm using push and pull, I'm talking about the elevator movement there. So obviously if you're pulling back on the stick, you're using up elevator. If you're pushing forward on the stick, you're using down elevator. That's just the way I'm explaining it. I'm happy with that. That's straight and forward. We've got a dot to start and we've got a vertical line to end. And we've got the difference between a solid black line and a dotted red line. Okay, still with me? Haven't paused or left or gone to get a beer yet? Okay, good. Right, so here's it being explained. So basically, first manoeuvre here, you're pushed to a down line. So you're going along straight inverted. And this is where I really need to make myself a sticky. Perhaps I'll do that in a minute. But I'll use my hand for a moment. So we're going to push along. We're going to go along. We're going to push down. And because we're going down, the line's gone dotted. Because it's showing a negative G with the dashed line. And then you're pulling to come out to upright line back to solid. But then look at the next section. So we're going along again and we're pulling to up line. Because we're pulling and we're not going negative, it's staying as a solid line. And then pushing to exit upright as a solid line as well. Excuse me, I'm kind of happy with that so far. I mean, we've done nothing other than go along in a straight line with a few push and pulls. I really do need to make a sticky. Okay, so it gets a bit more interesting here. So let's pick the top left section of the screen. So first manoeuvre, we're starting at the dot, don't forget. We're flying along straight and level. We're going left to right. And then we've got an arrow. So that arrow dictates a full 360-degree roll. Because if it was a 180, you'd be inverted and then would have dotted line after. So we know that arrow, single arrow, is the full 360-degree roll. And the white arrow underneath is just dictating the direction of flight. So we know this is left to right because we know we've got the black dot where the 1 is over to the vertical line to indicate the end of that manoeuvre. So on the top right hand side of the screen, we're kind of coming the other way around. We're kind of going right to left, but we know we're starting inverted because we're dotted red, and then we're doing the full 360 roll, and then we're ending inverted and ending the manoeuvre. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Now, bottom left hand side of the screen, we're doing something very similar, but we're doing 180 degrees here, so we're doing a half roll. So we're coming along straight and level, we're doing a half roll, and then we're exiting the manoeuvre inverted. So we're going from a solid black line to a dotted red line. And then same on the other side as well, but it's just the other way around. So the direction of flight is always into the cup of the arrow. Yeah, I don't really know what that means. The cup of the arrow? The cup? Well, the black arrow? Direction of flight is black arrow, cup. Yeah, okay, I'm not too sure on that. I mean, for me, it's from the dot to the line. Okay. Oh, some more rolls. So now we've got linked rolls. So again, taking the top left symbol, starting at the dots, which is the 1, we're going along straight and level. We are pulling up to a 45-degree line, and now we're doing 2 consecutive rolls. So that I call them consecutive rolls. That's what I'm used to. In IMAC, they're called linked rolls. So 1, 2. So full 360. So just 2 rolls on that 45-degree up line. Now I imagine at some point we're going to be talking about where those rolls are placed on the 45-degree up line. I mean, they don't want to be at the bottom, they don't want to be at the top, they probably want to be spread out across there, but there'll be a section on placement, I'm sure there will be. So we're doing the full consecutive rolls, sorry, 2 linked rolls, and then we're pushing out at the top to finish. And then on the other side, top right symbol, we're pushing down to 45, we're doing a full roll and then a half roll. So we do 1.5 linked rolls because we know we're exiting inverted because we're going to the dotted red line, and then we're pushing out back to straight and level flight. That's fine. We're good with that so far, aren't we? Surely. 2 arrows, 2 consecutive. If it's an arrow and a half or an arrow going to a red dotted line, you know you're only doing half roll or 1.5 rolls. That's cool. Okay. I'm sure it's going to get worse. I mean, not worse, just a bit more complicated. Bottom left, we're doing unlinked opposite aileron rolls. So I guess they're unlinked. I'm guessing they're unlinked because they're going to change direction. Does that make it unlinked? Or is it because of spacing or gapping? I don't know. We need to find that out. So we're coming along and we're rolling to the right, 360, and we're rolling to left 360. Okay, that's quite, I mean, I don't know how many times you do that, for example. I mean, back to my previous point as to why I'm doing this. I end up doing the same manoeuvres every time I fly. I can tell you now, I never go along and do an unlinked opposite aileron rolls. So I just don't. I either do a slow roll to the right or slow roll to the left, or 4-point roll to the right or 4-point roll to the left, or maybe 2 consecutive rolls. I never go full 360 and then back the other way. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's a cool manoeuvre. I'm going to do that. But now it gets a bit more confusing because we've got, oh, I see what it's saying. So bottom right, we're starting at the dot, so we're flying left to right. We're coming along straight and level. Then we're doing 3-4, which is 3/4. No, we're actually doing 1-4 and then 3-4. Hold on, so 1/4, then back 3/4. Yeah, that's cool. So this, I need to make myself a sticky. I'm going to stop this video in a second and just do that quickly. Have I got anything here? I'll make one in a minute for each lollipop sticks. So basically, let me just finish this section. So what we're doing, we're coming along and we're rolling to the right first, a quarter roll. So basically it's a knife edge. So that's a quarter roll. So we've done a quarter roll and then we're going opposite for 3. So imagine that they're doing the other 3 points of the roll, but going opposite. So 1, 2, and then upside down is 3, isn't it? Is that right? Come along, quarter roll is 1. Flying knife edge, but then we're going, they're unlinked because we're going the opposite direction. So we go 1, 2, and then 3. And then we're exiting inverted. So again, back to my previous point. Who does that? Do you do that? Have you done that? Let me know in the comments below. Is that some part of your standard flying about, messing about routine? That's another cool manoeuvre. So 2 cool manoeuvres already. We've not even got into the schedule yet, but stuff that I'm just dying to go out and try. It's giving me more enthusiasm for it. Let me pause here. Let's make a sticky. Okay guys, so we've made a quick sticky. So literally just a stick plane to make it easier to work out what we're doing manoeuvres. I'll tie this up at a later date and make a better one, but it would do for now. So if we go back to our, let's make sure I'm recording the screen, to our symbols here and do the unlinked opposite aileron rolls again. So you can see now if we're actually going left to right, to make it easier, I think you can see that. There you can see that. So we're going to do quarter to the, so 1 of 4 means it's a 4-point roll, but we're only doing one part of it. So roll to the right. So we know there's going to be 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, except we're going to the right 1, and then we're doing 3 of 4 in the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3. Then we exit inverted. Does that make sense? Come along. 1 of 4, and now 3 of 4. Ready? 1 of 4, 1, 2, 3 of 4, inverted. Okay, let's go on to the next. So now we have point rolls or more point rolls. So this is saying in the first diagram on the left hand side, you've got 2 in red, which I mean it's going to be a full roll. We know it's going to be a full roll because we're exiting on the black line, so we're staying black. So it's going to be, rather than 2 rolls, which would have been 2 arrows, we're not doing that. We're doing 2 parts of the roll, so basically inverted to full. So rather than doing a smooth roll all the way through 360, you're basically doing 180 and then 180. So you're just hesitating to get those points in on the actual roll. That's what that 2 means. In the middle section, in the cross figure, flight along the x-axis is shown with diagonal lines. The center figure will be shown directly into the next figure. Okay, so now it's getting a little bit more complicated because up until now, everything we've been doing has been on the same line. But now what we're going to be doing is coming off that line and going towards ourselves, or sorry, away from ourselves or towards ourselves, which is what that center figure is showing. So it's showing that we're coming along the top line, we're pushing. So we've got that negative G, which we spoke about before with the red line, and then we're doing 3 of 4, so 3 points again. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, but now of course it's facing towards us, so it's coming out towards us to exit. Let's go over that again. Hopefully you can see this all right from the sort of angle I'm doing it at, but we're coming along. If you look at the screen, we're pushing down with the elevator into negative, and we're rolling to the right with 3 of 4. So 3 of the 4 points. All we're doing, we're not doing 4 points, we're doing 3 of the 4. 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, which leaves the aircraft with its wing towards us, so we pull out towards us. Now, same as the last symbol on this screen, the right hand side here, with the partial roll, we're coming along towards us in this case. So imagine you're finishing off the previous manoeuvre. That's why it's got 1 and 2 there. So the 1, so the center symbol is the first manoeuvre, the right hand symbol on this screen is the second manoeuvre. So go along from the center one, top line, we come along from the 1, we push, roll to the right, 1, 2, 3, pull towards us. Now we're going on the next symbol, coming along on the 2, pulling up, and we're doing 3 or 4 to the left. I get my lefts and rights right. It's too late for this. 1, 2, 3. No, that looks wrong. Let's do it again. Coming towards ourselves, we're pulling up, and we're going 1. Must be the other way. 1, 2, 3. It is the other way. So really important, obviously, if you're only doing 3 or 4, that you roll the right direction. So if you roll the wrong direction, you're going to be facing the wrong direction when you finish that roll, because you're not doing a full roll, or you're doing half a roll. If you're doing a half roll, you'll be inverted. So let's do it again. So coming along, off the previous maneuver, we're pulling up, we're rolling to the right, 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, and then we're back out straight and level. May have confused you. I possibly confused myself as well. Let's do it again from the middle maneuver to the right hand maneuver. So coming along the top line, we're pushing down, doing 3 or 4, 1, 2, 3, coming out towards us, and now doing pulling up and doing 3 or 4 again, 1, 2, 3, and then we're pushing out. So we're back on that same top line. So basically we've come along, come down, come towards us, gone back up, and come along again. That'd be interesting to try that one. I'm pretty sure I'll explain it right. Let's go on. Let's get through these symbols. Right, so now we're into snap rolls, and this is where it starts getting more advanced. I mean, so far we're kind of okay, we can probably all do rolls. Yeah, sometimes not used to doing point rolls, but you know, it's pretty cool doing 3 or 4 or 2 over on the roll. We thought that kind of makes sense, just got to practice it. But now we're doing positive snap, negative snaps, and consecutive snaps. So this is going to be all about making sure the model's set up properly, which we're going to cover in another video, because there's a whole different chapter on the imacuk.org site about doing that, and I'm going to do that with 1 or 2 of my models. So make sure you like and subscribe to come back to watch that one, but let's just get through the rest of these symbols in this session. So we're going to come along for the first snap. So top left, snaps, positive snap, and what the triangle dictates is a snap roll. And the top thin line on the triangle is the direction of the snap. Now again guys, I only learnt this yesterday by reading just before I did this video. So if I'm getting this wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I'm right here, and we will correct as we go through this YouTube series. So we're going to come along, we're going to do the snap, which is, no, that's the best I can do on this, and then we're going to come out. So that's nice and easy. Just go along, snap, just do 1 snap. Now when you're snapping, obviously you got to make sure positive snap, so you're doing up elevator, so I'm using the sticks here, and maybe up elevator, left aileron, and right rudder. It doesn't say whether you can be on full power or not. I imagine you can just keep the power constants and that, so I'll probably do that at half throttle, because I fly straight and level on half throttle. Go on half throttle, just snap, and bring the sticks back up, so it just snaps and hopefully stops where it needs to stop. And there is a good article on here about setting up a flight condition for snap rolls, which I've never done before, but it's all about decreasing some of the movement, so you can get like a cleaner snap. I know my friend Steve does that when he flies F3A, and he gets like a really nice snap. So we'll give that a go when we come to flying. Then in the middle here, we've got a half positive snap. So again, we know what our black line means, we know what our red line, and it means we're coming along, we're going down on the 45 degrees, and we're going to do a half snap. Okay, hard to do with sticky, but you know what a snap roll is. And then we're going to exit on the negative. So exiting inverted by pushing out. Okay, again, that's about setting up snap and knowing how long to hold the snap for, to be able to time it and judge it to come out correctly. Bit of practice is what it's going to take. Gets a little bit harder now, because we're going to do linked positive snaps on the right hand side of the screen here, and we're going to do 1 3/4. So we know last time when we did a 3/4, we're coming out towards ourselves. This is going to be exactly the same concept. So we're going to come along, we're going to push down, we're going to do a full snap, which is the big triangle. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Confuse myself. Come along, push down, a full snap, because it's 1 3/4, then a 3/4 snap. So make sure we're going the right way on the snap, so we get the 3/4, otherwise 3/4 is going to be facing the wrong direction for us. So we're going to make sure we snap the right direction and we come there and come out towards us. So it's 1 3/4 positive snaps. Anytime you see positive, it's about up elevator. See negative, it's about down elevator. Once you're inverted, down elevator, is that then positive? We'll come back to that, but that's what I think it is. I'm pretty sure that's right, because if you look at the very last diagram, bottom left here, we've now got 2 linked negative snaps. So they're linked is dictated by the line going across both of the triangles. So the triangles, the small line, dictate the direction of the snap. So we're going left to right. We know that anyway, so we've got the black dot going to the vertical line. And then we've got 2 negative snaps. So we're coming along on the negative, so we're coming along inverted. We're doing our double snap, and then we're exiting inverted. So that to me seems like an easier maneuver. I'll say that now when I'm not flying, but it seems like an easier maneuver than the one on the right hand side where we were doing 1 3/4 snaps, because trying to stop after a 3/4 snap to make sure you're facing the right way could be challenging. Never done it before. Say all the time I'm flying, I've never tried that, which again is what's excited me towards IMAC and learning something new. Let's go on. Is there more, please? What? So we've got, that's literally my what? So now we've got a positive snap and a 2 or 4 point roll. Now, bear with me guys. We said earlier on we're going to start with the Sportsman class. These maneuvers, I'm not going to be in the Sportsman's class. This is just really explaining how to read the Aresti symbols. So don't panic straight away like I just did there and think, how the heck am I going to do that? I'm just learning what the symbols mean right now. We'll go back to Sportsman class in a minute when we end this video, just at the last section, to work out if we now understand how to read it before we then go on. So we're coming along bottom, pulling up 45 degrees. We're doing a positive snap, and then we're going straight into a 2 of 4. So 1, 2, to then come along inverted and then pull to exit. So again, coming on the bottom line, pulling up 45 degrees, doing a full snap, and then doing 2 of 4, which could possibly be anyway, but probably makes sense to go the same direction as snap. So 1 point, 2 points of the 4 complete, and now exiting inverted with a pull off the top line. Yeah. And then we've got a partial snap and a point roll. I don't even know if I'm going to try and do that. I mean, let's have a go. It's 3 or 4 partial snap, which is dictated by the triangle with the line, and then 3 of the 4 points for the point roll. So I guess you're coming along. If you're doing 3 or 4, you're going to end on knife edge, aren't you? So if we go to the right, doesn't actually say, but if we go right, we end up in that position, and then we come out by going 1, 2, 3. So again, come along, we do the snap, end up in knife edge. Yeah, snap, end up in knife edge, and then we do 1, 2, 3, come back out level. We know we're coming out level, it's got a black line. It's getting more complicated. Yeah, let's move on. So we've got spins. Spins are pretty straightforward. So dictated by another triangle, but it's a triangle the other way round. So we're going along the top, first one, pushing down with the negative G's, because we know that's the dotted red line. You can't see me, there you go. We're doing our spins, so just one spin, whoop, and then we're pulling out, okay? Next one, we've got a 1.5 positive spin. So because we've got extra half, we're going to go back the opposite direction. So we're going to come along, we come down, spinning, and then spinning with a half, and then pulling out back in the direction where we just come from. And then two turn negative spin. Again, so we're starting negative, so we're starting inverted. So I'm doing it from my left because, does it make more sense to go that way? Can you see better that way? Maybe, yeah, maybe that would be a better angle. So I'm looking at a screen which is here, so I can see what you can see. So we're coming along, and we're pushing down. No, we're pulling down. So we're inverted. So we pull down, and then we do two turn negative spin. 1, 2, and then we're pulling out upright. Okay, that's quite cool. We've got one more spins. Yeah, so spins, I mean, that's a similar thing, 3 and 3 or 4. So we're coming out when we go towards us again. I'm not gonna do that with sticky, because we're getting a bit more complicated. And now it's talking about spins and snaps. So let's just skip over this. Oh, actually no, let's do the little test at the end and see whether, I say we, I'm actually sitting there by myself, but you know what I'm saying. So in the first one, what is wrong? Let's have a look. So A, we're starting off at number 1, we know that. We're going up on a 45-degree line, but this arrow's wrong. This arrow which indicates the roll is wrong, because it should be the direction of travel, so I think it should be bending the other way. I think that's right. Again, if you're an IMAC guy, chuck a comment in below, please. Let us know so everybody knows. So A, I think the arrow's wrong. B, we're starting off at 1 again, we're going along, we're pulling up at 45 degrees, and now we've got a snap, but the little line at the top of the triangle on the snap should indicate the direction of travel. So that to me looks wrong. So first of all, that looks like it's the wrong way around, because it should be drawn the other way around. And also it's saying we're exited inverted, so that snap symbol should have a number with it, I believe, to show that we're going to exit inverted. So it should be like 1.5 snaps, or it should be like half snap. Otherwise, you're going to do full snap is staying the right way around. So that looks wrong. And then we've got a very sharp exit out the top, which is just a bit confusing right now. Going back the other way, I guess that bit's okay. C, we're coming along the top line from the other direction. We're pushing down and we're doing a roll. So again, we're missing the number. I think the arrow's the right way. The line colour's the right way, but we're missing a number because we're coming out towards ourselves. So it'll probably be a 3 or 4 or 3, yeah, 3 or 4 point roll. Perhaps we're missing there. So numbers 3 and 4. And then D, I think D is wrong because I think I read somewhere you can't do 3 consecutive rolls. I think the maximum rolling you do is 720, which is 2 lots of 360. So I think that's what's wrong with that, because we've got 3 arrows indicating 3 consecutive rolls. And the line across the top means they're, what word they use instead of consecutive? It's gone. Consecutive is just in here. So I think the fact you got a 3rd arrow is wrong there. But I don't have the answer to that, I don't think. Do I? No, there's no notes in this. Brilliant. Okay, so now that we've had like a little introduction to learning Aresti, and there's a whole more to it as well. There's a whole symbol library, which we're going to do once I understand it better. We'll do that in a completely separate video. Let's go back to that Sportsman schedule. Let's see if we understand it. So vertical 5/8 teardrop. So come along, pull up. We're doing a full roll to the right, and then pulling around the 5/8 of the loop to come down vertical. Again, let's try this way around so you can see better. So we're coming along, left to right, pulling up 45, doing a full roll, and then we're going over the top, and we're coming down 90-degree line, and we're pulling out back to baseline. Makes sense. Then number 2, which would come off of that maneuver, it looks like we're going to go along. We've got the triangle symbol, so we've got a full snap, and then we've got a pull on the half loop if you like, and then we've got a 2 or 4 roll. So we're doing 1, 2 to go back along straight and level. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm pretty sure I'm 99% right there. That's my short face. So number 3, we're coming off of that maneuver. We're pushing down, so we've got the negative G's, which is indicated by the red dotted line, and we're doing 2 or 4 and going the other way. So we're going to do 1, 2, and then we're pulling out back the opposite way. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Come along, push down, 1, 2, and then pulling out. That was the vertical down line. Now we've got a horizontal 5/8 loop, which is a reverse half Cuban. I recognise some of those words from my old F3A days. So we're going to go along the bottom. We're going to pull up, and we've got a half roll to negative, which we're doing there, which is indicated by the red line. Then we've got the 5/8 loop, which basically is just the rest of that loop section, and then we're coming up. So that's nice and easy. That's probably a manoeuvre that I do all day long anyway. Pull up on the 45. Quite often I do 1, 2, so I do 2 or 4, but this is pull up on the 45, and we go round, and then we go nice loop out and exit back on that baseline, going the opposite direction. Okay, now something that looks nice and simple, a loop, but there's an arrow in the middle. So we're going right to left this time. So obviously we've just done a turnaround maneuver with that 5/8 loop reverse Cuban. So going right, coming along, we're doing a loop, but then it looks like between those two marks, we've got a full roll. So we're doing the full roll at the top section of the loop. And this is where I'm gonna need to get some clarity from the IMAC guys, or do further studying, or just come and fly it with some people. But it looks like to me, you're going along, you're doing a loop, then at the top sort of section here, you're starting a roll along the top of the loop, rolling down and finishing that sort of at the same point where you started it. If you imagine there's a line going across the loop, and where you start that roll, you want to finish that roll on the same point there, and then you're coming out and pulling out. Now again, there is an advanced section to this where we can start reading more about the Aresti, and I'm pretty sure it clarifies those points as well. Let's presume that's right. And then we're going to come off that and we're going to go into a stall turn hammerhead. Now this drawing's a little bit confusing because it's kind of showing that you come in, you enter in the middle section. Again, putting some clarity on that. But if you look, the dot is on the middle, and it's got 2 of 8. This is Sportsman, and we're already talking about 8-point rolls, but we're doing 2 of the 8 points. So an 8-point roll is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we're doing 2 of 8, we're doing 1, 2. Why didn't they just say 1 of 4? They can't say 1 of 4 because that's just straight to that point, isn't it? That's why. So by saying 2 of 8, you're getting that centre, that middle section. So if I go towards the camera, if you're doing 2 of 8, you're going there and there. Doing 1 of 4, you're just going to there without pausing in the middle. So there is your 2 of 8, 3 of 8, 4 of 8, 5 of 8, 6 of 8, 7 of 8, 8 of 8. Where was I? So we're going to come along. What's the best angle for you guys? Come along. And what are we doing? Are we pulling up? Right, I think we're doing this. We're coming along, pulling up. Let's fly this. I'm pulling up. We're still turning. So we're coming down, and now we're going to go 2 of 8. 1, 2. No, that isn't it right. We're still turn. We've still turned. So by still turning, we're facing the opposite direction. Like that. 1, 2. I'm not sure. 1, 2. Go right. 1, 2, and then pull out. But it kind of looks like we're pulling out the wrong way. So look, that's one, number 6 on the Sportsman schedule, 2023 IMAC UK. I need to get clarified. Right. Anyway, let's go on. Let's go on 7. We're sort of winning. Humpty bump. So we're going to come along. Looks like we're coming along towards us. We're pulling up. We're doing a full roll. We're going over the Humpty bump, and then we're doing 3 or 4 on the way down. 3 or 4. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, and then we're pulling up, pulling out. So I think obviously like maneuver number 6 and maneuver number 7 connect together. So if you've messed up 6 by getting your 2 of 8 incorrect, you're going to mess up 7. And that's, again, going back to flying schedules and sharpening up your flying. That's my point. When you fly a schedule, you have to fly one maneuver after the other. So it's really about setting up each maneuver, because if you mess up one maneuver, you're probably going to mess up the second maneuver or the entry point to the second maneuver. And that's how it sharpens your flying up, because you're already lining up for the second maneuver when you finish the first. You're always going for the next maneuver. So I'm not 100% sure on that Humpty bump either. But again, pushing on, conscious of time on this video. I don't want this to be hours long for you guys. So number 8 is just a 45-degree upline with a snap. I do these already. So come along, 45 up, halfway on that upline, do a full snap, and then carry on going, power out that snap, and go. So I'm sure we're looking for constant speed here. Like I say, there is a judging section on the website as well, so we'll go over that so we know what we're being scored on, and we'll understand more about this other section here, which is the catalogue number. what that means and the K factor as well. But let's go along. 45, full snap, come along, push out. Number 9, 1.5 turn positive spin. Quite straightforward. Come along, stall the model. We're going to do a full spin and a half spin. So we're, say you've got negative, and then we pull out positive, pull out coming that way. That's fine. And then we've got horizontal S. So off the last maneuver, we are coming along. Oh, we've got 2 rolls here. Does that mean you roll around the loop of the S? Or was it roll before? I mean, I think it must be roll around the loop. So if you did 2 full rolls, you're going to end up the same way up, aren't you? Then we're going to pull. Was it 2 full? So look, what I'm thinking, it's either 2 full rolls before you do the loop section. 1, 2, and then you pull into the loop. And you're pushing down for the S bit, and you're doing 2 of 4, 1, 2, so you back the right way around, then you pull up, and then you exit inverted, which kind of lines up with the red dots. Or I was saying you fly along, and then through that half loop, you're doing 2 rolls, but I can't see that because this is Sportsman. So remember, it's not advanced or intermediate or the other jazzy names, it's Sportsman. So I reckon that's 2 full rolls, come along, 1, 2, straight into that loop, coming down the 45, and do 2 or 4, coming back up, and then exiting on the top line inverted. So we've got a bit of work to do. We've got a bit of clarity on number 10, a bit of clarity on 6 and 7. I'll probably post a few questions into a few IMAC forums. Say noob here. So yeah, so what do you guys think so far? Think something that you could get into? Are you going to follow me along on this series? Follow along with me. That's probably a better way of saying it. It is about 10 o'clock. I am pretty tired. Yeah, join me. Follow me along and see how far we get with this. What we're going to do next, I think next time round, we will probably, let's have a quick look at the website and find out. Starting out, videos of Sportsman sequence. I'll probably review a video. No, let's not do that. Let's find out a little bit on trimming out the plane. So trimming out the plane, and maybe no, probably just trimming out the plane. So that's going to be really important. So in that section next time around, then we'll cover trimming the plane, which is going to cover things like setting up the CFG, how we test that in the air to make sure we've got our CFG spot on. So of course, if that is wrong, it's going to make these maneuvers harder to do. It's going to cover setting up the control throws as well. I've read some articles on setting up flight conditions for this as well. As I said earlier on before, like having a flight condition for a snap roll could be really useful, and some other flight conditions as well. So making sure we've got the right amount of movement in to help us just form these maneuvers a bit more accurately. So I'm going to do that next time round. I think what I'll also do as well as part of the next video is do it on Big Blue, which is my X300. If you've not seen that build series, check it out and make sure the playlist is below. But it's a full electric 104-inch model, which I probably will be using to practice this. I've also got another 104-inch extra 300 as well, which has got a DA120 in, so I'll be using a combination of the two depending on where I'm flying and what the regulations are on the flying site to actually get through this. So yeah, so next time round we won't be down the flying site, but we will be actually looking at how to trim the model in the workshop, and we'll do some setup on the flight conditions with the transmitter. Guys, I hope you found today's video useful. Let me know in the comments below, please. Carry on subscribing as well. I actually just hit 200,000 views on the YouTube channel, which I'm pretty shocked by, considering I only set it up at the end of last year just for a bit of fun initially, but I'm really getting into it, and hopefully I'm enjoying all the comments rather, and hopefully you guys are too. Right, with that, I've spoken enough. I'll see you next time round. Thanks.